Here is an incredible example of the new bullying on the left that is shutting down not just debates, but even comedy acts. And the worst of it is that this is happening exactly where it should not happen, in our arts world, where you're supposed to get the ideas that challenge and even offend people. Now, we have already seen our taxpayer-funded writers' festivals exclude almost every Conservative writer in the country. But now they're even excluding, for instance, Germaine Greer, the feminist writer. She's been banned from speaking at 2 writers' festivals for saying things about rape and the Me Too movement that organisers thought too challenging for their audiences. And comedy genius Barry Humphries, he had his name removed from the Melbourne International Comedy Festival's top prize. Used to be called the Barrys. Why? Because it criticised or told jokes about transgender people. And now it gets even worse. And I can prove that it's actually getting worse because 4 years ago, comedian Kate Hanley-Corley performed a show, quite happily, at the Melbourne Fringe Festival, Aisha the Geisha. It got good crowds and good reviews. Hanley-Corley in the show plays a Kooyurup dairy farmer whose boyfriend, it's a local footy hero, he doesn't come back from a trip to Japan. He's found love there. So this Kooyurup farmer girl goes over to win him back by becoming the world's first foreign geisha. OK, it's not Shakespeare, but the crowd seemed to like it. And the reviewer from Stage Whispers raved that the cultures and attitudes collide in hilarious ways in this show. This Aisha is a bonza geisha. So, 4 years ago, no fuss, all sweet with this show. Our audiences laughed, no one was hurt. Same story when this show was performed at the Comedy Festival, the International Comedy Festival. But how things have changed in the last couple of dark years. See, Hanley-Corley was booked at this year's Melbourne Fringe Festival, return season, next month, to bring back a reworked show, Aisha the Aussie Geisha, the Accidental Oriental. But this time ran smack into the new identity politics that is absolutely destroying us sense of humour. Some 70 arts people, almost without exception, people you have never heard of and probably never will, they got up a group petition to ban the show. And it worked. The show's been withdrawn. As the Fringe Festival put it, Melbourne Fringe and the artists have come to the mutual decision that the event will no longer be performed at this year's festival. So what was the problem? What was so horrible about the show that wasn't detected last time? So horrible that nobody can be allowed to see it this time. Well, here is what that petition of those 70 angry arts workers said about it. From the initial information and visuals communicated to audiences, this performance centres on a stereotyped depiction of Orientalist fantasy that borders on yellowface. Yellowface. Oh, no, a white artist pretending to be Asian. No, wait, it's actually a white artist pretending to be a white dairy farmer dressed as an Asian, which is almost as bad. Yellowface. And hang on, those complicated little words at the beginning of that, did I read that right? Did I read that the 70 Australian arts workers who want this show banned haven't actually seen it? Let's read on, because yes, indeed, they haven't seen it. And now they're making sure that no one else should see it either. They go on. From deeper research, including a 2014 review of this same show from Entertainment Geelong, going right to the source, we can confirm that this performance revolves around the belittling and insulting depictions of Asian peoples for cheap humour. A comedy festival without cheap humour, that'd be a very short one, wouldn't it? Now, from deeper research, they reckon this show insults Asians for cheap laughs. Now, I actually looked up the review that is the deeper research of these 70 arts types. And I find that review was that Henley Cornley had poked fun at a poorly translated Asian English sign or two. That's it. Oh, and she suggested the only way the Australian girls could sing like Japanese geishas, have you ever heard them, was if they had a carrot stuck up their bottom. Now, okay, maybe that last joke isn't a thigh slapper, but is that seriously all that these 70 artists relied upon to decide not just that they wouldn't go to Henley Cornley's show themselves, but that you must never be allowed to see it either? I mean, seriously, what intolerant and smug senses these people are. I say smug because here they are congratulating themselves for being so sensitive, while also, and who knew this, so very successful. That's what they say, because their statement ends like this: we, the following signatories, leading creatives and culture makers from Asian and Asian Australian backgrounds and our close allies and colleagues, call upon Melbourne Fringe to ensure that your festival does not continue to host, encourage and perpetrate unacceptable material with racist, oppressive and demeaning content. Those arrogant people. I mean, here they are, these so-and-sos, praising themselves while trashing this poor Henley Cornley as a racist. Now, she herself says she's really upset because she is no racist. She loves things Japanese, and she says she's got lots of Japanese friends who liked her show. They supported her. But oh no. Look, honestly, these 70 leading culture makers that we've never heard of should have been shown the door. Instead, the Melbourne Fringe, its chief executive, Simon Abrahams, caved into them and issued the lamest statement I have ever heard from a festival director. He should be ashamed of himself. We are taking the comments on board as we review our policies and strengthen our procedures, he said. Our procedures for open access program to ensure that Fringe, they don't do grammar much, that Fringe does not compromise the safe cultural spaces we seek to create. What on earth is a true cultural festival? What is its business to create safe cultural spaces? Does any serious artist want to make people feel safe, rather than challenged? Have we really got to that, where audiences are fed pap instead, that they're bound to agree with all the way through? Where festivals ban anything that might upset or challenge these delicate new totalitarians who think it's their job, their business, to ban shows they haven't seen, including ones that you might actually like to? How weak. What an insult to our intelligence. Actually, can I just add a PS here? So these 70 leading culture workers, culture creators, say that Henley Cornley dressing Japanese and telling jokes against Japanese stereotypes is too racist to go ahead. Yet last year, not a single one of them I heard saying boo when Henley Cornley performed at the International Comedy Festival in Melbourne, pretending to be French and telling jokes against French stereotypes.
Australia, you are decades behind in the fashion. That is why I, Fanny Bouffant, am coming to your shows to turn you from Bogon into Beaujon.
So, let's ask who the real racists are in this stupid Australian saga. Is the racist this comedian, or is it in fact the 70 leading culture makers who ban shows that mention Asians but let through ones that mock the French?